Hello everybody and welcome back to another Community Fortress. This is a bit of a different one because this is one of mine. So this is actually kind of a request. I've had a few people ask me if I could cover my own forts in this series just as a way for people who maybe don't watch my live streams to kind of see the stuff that I do. The point of this video is going to be kind of just kind of a continuation of the Community Forts series, but from one of my forts. So this fortress was sent in by me, and this is the Fortress of Waterlungs of the Accidental Ceiling, which is one of the best Dwarven factions names I've ever seen. For a normal episode, I look at community members' fortresses, and there's quite a lot on my waiting list. But if you would like to send in one for me to have a look at on the show, you can do that via my Discord server. There is a link down in the description of this video. All you got to do is jump down into that Discord server, go to the DF Save sharing room, and then simply upload the save of your choice, either to a file sharing service if it's too large, or directly to the server if possible in a zip folder. If you're using any mods, please include your mods folder, otherwise I may not be able to load it. Now, we're gonna dive in and take a peek. So this particular fortress kind of got retired due to me giving up on a mega project, which I will be showing you. It's kind of over there in the corner. Up here on the surface, we have this Titan that I'd never ended up doing with. I did have some plans for it, but I never was able to do anything. So this biome is kind of cursed. It's a kind of the center section right here is a terrifying biome that is raining or snowing this stuff, which is called Fetid Slush. It's admittedly kind of difficult to see in this mode, but if I swap over to ASCII, you can see it's all yellow. Now, Fetid Slush is essentially just like putrid vomit that falls from the skies and covers the map and gives the dwarves a very massive mood penalty when they walk in it. It's I walked in freakish weather. And then the ocean over here, which is frozen, so you can't really see it, but if I swap over to ASCII, it's a little bit more obvious underground. This is Untamed Wilds, as well as the top corner up here. So these kind of little gray spots are Untamed Wilds. It's actually very clear in the mini map as well in ASCII because it's all purple, implying that it's a terrifying zone. Now, terrifying, the maps kind of go via several different difficulty levels, essentially, or like levels of possible threat that you're going to get from the outside. For the haunted and evil biomes, it goes Sinister, which is the lowest level of difficulty, Haunted, which is the middle level of difficulty, and then the highest level of difficulty is Terrifying. Okay, and then for like Wilderness, there's Calm, Wilderness, and Untamed Wilds. So this would be like the Untamed Wilds equivalent. So you do get agitated things showing up, and in the case of this map, I'm not seeing any just at a glance, but in the case of this map, it's been a lot of undead giant birds. So giant eagles and let's see if I can. There's agitated wolf corpses. There's giant crabs which come in from the ocean. As you can see, there's very many of those. We'll get into those. Agitated osprey, agitated giant snowy owl corpses, the ice wolves, of course, and then also things like there's been polar bear people and other various fun things. We did domesticate wolves in here, as you can see. So this top area is our trading zone. We never got to a point where I was actively bringing wagons in, so they were just walking through the single zone. We were collecting sand there. And then down through here, this is kind of the mega project that I'll get into last. Down here, we had to dig through an aquifer. Don't mind that. That's just an oopsie. This, we had to dig through an aquifer, so I used the aquifer to have some mist going down this area pretty consistently. So there's almost always mist coming out of this area and raining on that walkway, so they always get in happy moods when they go through. And then we also channeled some more of this aquifer out, so if I actually turn on the dig tool, you can see where the water is dribbling down from the walls and into this little reservoir here, and then flowing down into the fort, and we'll get into that in a second. This was the initial fort where we lived for a little bit until I decided we needed to go deeper because I kept hitting aquifer walls. So if I actually hit this, you can see all this is aquifer all the way around here. So I was like, all right, well, we're too shallow. We need to go further down. So we went further down, and then we get down to this. This is the actual fortress. So we'll kind of cover this layer, and I'll talk about some stories and some things that happened in this fortress, and then we'll cover the machine layer up here and a few other things. So you'll notice right away that there's crab statues everywhere. So long story short, we discovered that we could tame giant crabs. Well, train giant crabs. The problem is you can't tame giant crabs. Now, the issue here is giant crabs are born full grown. So any creature that is born full grown immediately becomes an adult, and that makes them untamable. Creatures that are tameable are born as children or like smaller versions, like young versions, and they grow up over about a year, sometimes longer, like elephants take 10 years to mature in Dwarfort. Crabs are born full grown. So the problem with this is you can never fully tame them because you don't have the process of training the younger variants of them. So because of this, we actually got overflowed with them. And because it's a resurrecting biome, every time I slaughtered them, I would get at least 2, sometimes 3 zombies out of each of them. And they just became such a pain to deal with. And they were giving birth to litters of like 5 to 10 that what you don't see here is there's actually a cage in here that is full of giant crabs. So unfortunately, Eugene Krabs over here and Lady Krabatha kind of actually took over the fort for a little bit. So we made all of these copper crab statues to kind of commemorate the epic event. The entire fortress is fed off of these 2 garden plots right here. They grow a variety of things around the year. And this little farmer's workshop here, as well as this kind of cloth industry down here, takes pigtails and processes them. And then these querns here pretty consistently also process the pigtails from there into paper. This actually here is a farmer's guild, which goes all the way up to here. Something that I did in this particular playthrough that I haven't done, and then here's the screw presses with the paper sheets, as you can see. Something I did with this playthrough that I don't normally do is I actually played with the hard variant of economy. So you'll notice that my guild halls are extremely blinged out because they needed to be at a value of, I think, 30. Yeah, so we had to get them to 30. So keeping them at the value of 30,000 is a little tricky. Down here, you can see we also were able to tame walruses, or as we called them, walry, in the actual fortress itself. And over here is kind of our central temple. We've got this overlapping fancy temple here. Don't mind the vampire. And then up here we have all of these little tiny temples for each of the individual gods. This vampire here actually is a very sad story. Her and her wife moved in with their child Logum, who died on the surface of the map very early on. And this dwarf, Redbug, her wife is actually totally fine, Salty Tempest, but Redbug here basically like threw her life into religion and spent her entire existence refusing to do any real work and just sat in here praying for like 15, 20 years until eventually finally going insane and tantruming due to a fight breaking out in this area and knocked over one of the altars here, which gained her the curse of this. And she'd never even moved. She didn't eat anybody, so we just built this around her and in a spot where she would be sprayed with water, so at the very least she'd get some relief in her life. But very sad story of that dwarf there. Over here we have a mushroom farm where we dumped some water. And we've got our livestock grazing down here, down here. And then as you can see up here, we have this water. So this is where the water is flowing in. If we, for some reason, need to stop it, we have these floodgates that we can close, which I set up right at the beginning. The water flows down into here and into this little creek, and it flows around throughout and then off the edge of the map in various places. We also eventually also brought down this second one to fill up the rest of it because it was getting too shallow and I wanted to keep it full. So we brought in other ones. Setups like this, and we'll talk about these guys in a second. Setups like this are actually not, I wouldn't recommend it. We ended up drowning quite a few dwarves in here as time went by. But it wasn't so bad. Then over here, this is actually kind of interesting. I set it up so that I could let it flow down into these water wheels to power these pump stacks, which we'll get to. I'm going to keep saying that. But because there's actually an aquifer on this layer, this is like self-filling. So it's like just big enough that it's not actually draining, which is kind of wild. So that's like a self-powering like pump stack there, which was unintended. Over here is the prison area. As you can see, we have a couple of gravestones. We had to just simply dispose of the unwaking ones and then use gravestones because otherwise they'll walk out of the coffins. Over here, the mayor kept demanding I make ballista arrows, so this was where we were training ballista firing. We never ended up doing anything with it because we just kind of let the surface deal with most of the sieges. Down here is our library with 74 books. A lot of those are copies, but I mean, hey. Then down here we have soap. We have yak soap as well as dog soap, and there is some crab soap in there somewhere probably. And then more guild halls. another tavern, and right beneath the tavern was some more what's it called? Food storage. The tavern kind of goes all the way down here. I kind of like these open space taverns, and then more guild halls, barracks, and then over here another guild hall, and then this was our initial metalworks, but we eventually moved over to lava. Over here I built a little arena as well as another barracks. And we were putting prisoners in there and then kicking the crap out of them, which was a lot of fun. Then the remains from those fights go into here, and then they're put into a minecart, and then they follow this little minecart route that goes up, and then around, and then up again, and then down, and then over to here, and then they're dumped into this area, and then this area fills up with those parts, and then those parts go into this minecart that every so often when it's full gets kicked, and it goes down 10 layers all the way down to here and then fired onto this drawbridge, and then we just simply open the drawbridge and close the drawbridge every so often to dispose of the rest. It was actually a very efficient way of doing things, and I think I might actually make that into my normal method of dealing with stuff. And then if we needed to dump stuff, I had a dumping zone that would dump stuff down onto this, which was connected to the same lever as the drawbridge. So they just throw stuff in this way, and then when I pulled this lever up here, it would drop them down in there so that it would like dispose of everything. Very efficient. I quite liked that setup. Now, something that a lot of people always said that they loved about this fortress was actually my bedroom design. So the bedrooms are these little crosses, and they're just little trapdoors going down, and they're just these. So if I hit Z, you can kind of see these little pinwheel designs. These little pinwheels everywhere are the bedrooms for the dwarves. I mean, some of them kind of fall out of the pattern a little bit, and I don't worry too much about that. But overall, I'm quite happy with how this setup turned out. I mean, it's very space efficient, and like it's very easy to just kind of have these little trapdoors everywhere, and dwarves get to, you know, be pretty close to kind of everything. And this is my eventual metalsmiths area. So there's these two trapdoors going down here, and then there's this also side pathway over here down into the kind of central forge area. We were doing clear glass, so this is all clear glass flooring, and then up here is yet another guild hall. And then we also had this big old furniture storage area, which leads down to the pickup for the ballista arrows. Turns out, I thought the ballista arrows could crush things, but turns out that's not the case, so it was quite nice to see that, actually. And then from there, I guess it's time that we talk about the lava. So the lava is being pumped using these water wheels, and it's being pumped using entirely glass and gabbro pump stack, which goes from all the way down here, all the way down to here. So this is about as deep as we go. This was where we made all of the glass. The glass was transported from the surface all the way down, which was a little bit inconvenient, but I mean, it worked. It was because we were so limited on the amount of wood we had in this fort, because there was only a handful of trees on the surface, and the caverns were all basically a no-go zone because of the amount of zombies in there. We were gathering sand from the surface and bringing it down to here in these, and then just mass making bricks and the pieces that we needed. So it was quite efficient, and it worked. And then we built the pump stack. So the pump stack goes all the way up, and then 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 all the way up to all the way up to here. And then it goes into this reservoir, which is where we are working on our lava in here. So I guess some of these lucky dwarves get in-floor heating. And then over here, there's a secondary pump stack that goes all the way up to here. Now, this is where stuff gets a little bit goofy. So my mega project for this fort was this, which right now doesn't look like too much, but if I actually unpause this and I jump up to where's the actual pump here? If I turn this off, so right now it's full underneath that area with lava. So here's the kicker that we learned with this. If there's lava directly below ice, it will thaw it. But if it's full, 7 of 7, it will not thaw it. Now, the whole purpose of this was we were thawing this ocean. And as I said earlier, it's easier to see when the ASCII's turned on. But the reason we were thawing this ocean is because it wasn't spawning the animals that we wanted from the Untamed Wilds biome. We wanted the giant crabs. We wanted the walrus. We wanted the giant elephant seals, which I need to get back to. And those will only show up if there's water at the edge of the map. So we were using this as a method of thawing the ocean. So as this pumps over here and pumps the lava out into here for the surface for our other failed mega project where I was trying to obsidian 3D print a tower. I don't even know if I'm going to get into that one, but long story short, we were trying to dump lava right here and then pour water on top of it. But as I got further into this, I just realized it just wasn't going to work at all because the water would flow across and then we'd dig down one layer and then it would freeze. And it was ending dwarves left and right, and it turned out to be more of a pain than it was worth. So we eventually kind of gave up on that mega project, but part 1 did work, which was the thawing of the ocean. So around the edge of the map, and then when we're flowing lava off the top here, lava would eventually just go and, how do I even explain this? Lava would eventually just go and thaw this entire ocean, and then we would have the ability to bring the creatures in from off map, which eventually landed us with these guys. If you want more details on that whole project, you can watch my DF Ideas video where I talk about why I'm thawing an ocean. So these are giant elephant seals. Now, giant elephant seals are 1/3 the size of a giant sperm whale, which is one of the biggest creatures in the game. Male elephant seals have, it was like, I think 1,500 meat, and the females have 800 meat because the males are twice the size of the females. Each one has hundreds of units of glob, so you can make so much soap out of these guys, and they give an absolutely ridiculous amount of leather, and we were able to tame them. So I was super excited to get them. I had a couple of undead ones as well, which were a bit of a problem. But the living ones were great. And one of the reasons I'm keeping this save file around is I want to see the baby ones when we get the baby patch. Yeah, this was kind of the pinnacle and the proudest moment of this fortress of Waterlungs. Something else we were able to catch as well was these giant emperor penguins. Which are adorable, and there's one other guy around here. There he is. We have our giant albatross as well. We also have this little artifact hold here, and I'm trying to think, is there anything else I really need to show off with this map? We did lose our barony. We had a barony, but they died, unfortunately. We have several other vampires in this fort as well. This guy, which was kind of funny because when he arrived, he had 0 kill in his down here. I spotted immediately that he was a vampire, which is why he's just chained up permanently. But he was actually able to kill the zombie, so he no longer has the 0 kill thing. But according to the wiki, this guy has. Or not wiki, according to the Legends mode screen, this guy has like 450 confirmed kills, which is kind of crazy. Then we also have this one, and this is how I learned that you can have a vampire that is also a necromancer, which is also kind of nuts. And you just went to prison for some reason. That's unfortunate. But yeah, no, this is the Fortress of Waterlungs, a metropolis that I'm quite proud of. And if you're interested, actually, in the description of this video, I've attached a link to the save file if you wish to take a peek at it yourself, because it was a good amount of fun to put together, and I'm quite proud of how this whole fort turned out, even though like the actual mega project here just kind of floundered and wasn't as successful as we wanted it to be, but it was still a really cool project and a really fun fort to put together. And there's the ocean thawing, little bit at a time. It was a really cool project and a really fun fort to put together. It kind of has some ghost problems, and there's people fighting, and all that other good stuff. Yeah, the ocean melts slowly, piece by piece here, as the ripples of the drainage kind of start shooting through and popping up in place. And it seems, oh yeah, also there's a were antelope. That's something else I should point out. There's a were antelope down here. This is a child that got bit, which is very sad. Although he's remembering being near a waterfall, so I guess that's a positive. Maybe I should just release him. What do you think? Yeah, no, this is a fortress that is kind of sitting in the balance of life and death in a lot of ways. But I think that's kind of why this fortress was so much fun, was because it did kind of hold on by a hair in a good few spots. Oh, also, lastly, down here, we have this. This is a forgotten beast that we caught who lives here. He's clumsy, but, you know, we were able to catch him, so there's that. Many dwarves got caught by the undead jabbers down here, which is why I just kind of made the fortress itself off limits to the dwarves. Yeah, this is the Fortress of Waterlungs, and you can see some more of the water thawing there. But yeah, this is the Fortress of Waterlungs. I'm very proud of it, and hopefully you enjoyed this kind of less than normal fortress kind of overview, because, you know, it is one of my fortresses, but, you know, as chat said, I'm a part of the community too, I think. You know, if you like seeing me show off my forts and you would like to see more videos of my forts when I finish them up on occasion, let me know down in the comments section. And for those of you who've been following my antics on this channel recently, you may know that I've been running into some issues with ad permissions, so titles for my videos may look a little strange over the next few days. I'm starting to work it out. I did hear back from YouTube once, and they were like, yeah, your videos are safe for ads, but that's just one video, so I may have to like submit requests for every single video going forward, which is strange if that's the case. Very time consuming. I'm not super thrilled about it, but regardless though, thank you very much to those of you who support this channel, and to anybody who watches these videos. And once again, if you would like to send in a save file, please do that via my Discord. Videos will continue regardless of what YouTube does to me. I don't really care. But if you want to support this channel directly, you can do that via my Patreon or by buying a piece of merchandise on my merch store. We have a new mug up now. And if you would like to see me while I play video games on the internet and build fortresses like this, check me out at twitch.tv/BLINDIRL. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.